Hi everyone, welcome to the class once again. I hope you're all doing good and you are in the best of your health. Today's class will be starting a new chapter, that is the atoms. We'll start with different model of atoms. We'll start with what happened in the ancient times when people were seeing the different substances and they were trying to identify what these substances are made up of. Being a layman like us, we cannot say that what particles or what elements are actually constituting up these substances. People tried to study it. They gave us several models. Several were simple hypotheses, several models were based upon experiments, and then some observations. People came with a certain result. Let's try to do a result. Let's try to find out actually what happened during the evolution of this structure of atom, how people realized that what these atoms are made up of, and what is the basic elementary particle which is actually making up these atoms. Let's talk about atoms. Let's talk about the different models of atoms in this class. Now, first of all, we will talk about the various models of atoms, and the very basic one is the Thomson model of atom. So, we will start with the very basic one, the Thomson model of atom. Now, Thomson model, he actually gave a hypothesis, and he actually knew that an atom has negatively charged and positively charged particles within it. His model was actually a plum pudding model. You must have seen plum cake, and in it you must be seeing that several chocolate particles, choco chip particles are actually spread all over in the plum cake, or you can see that small cherries are actually spread in the cake. So what he said in the plum pudding model, there are several, the entire atom has charges, and the positively charged is actually distributed within this model. So he gave the model of atom as the entire atom is comprised of positively charged particles, and to make the atom neutral, negatively charged are actually spread all over within the volume of the atom. This model is known as the Thomson model of atom, and actually this model is a very layman's model. This was not based upon experiments. He actually knew that an atom may be having a positively charged and a negatively charged particle. To actually neutralize the atom, he used the plum pudding model. He said that there are positively charged particles, and to neutralize it and to neutralize the atom, he said that the entire volume is having the negative charge within it. But the problem with this model is, why this model actually failed? There are certain observations which were not explained by this Thomson model. So let's talk about the failure of Thomson model. This model actually it's not a true model of an atom, and it failed to show the actual atomic structure of any element. What atoms are comprised of, it was not able to actually show it, not able to prove certain observations. So first of all, it was unable to explain hydrogen spectral lines or spectral lines of hydrogen atom. Later on in this chapter, we will see that in a hydrogen atom case, what are those spectral lines that I am talking about in this line. Unable to explain spectral lines of hydrogen atom or hydrogen like atom, it was unable to explain. So different model was required to explain the spectral lines of the hydrogen atom. So that will be seeing in the later class, what are actually spectral lines of the hydrogen atom. It failed to actually explain, so that's why Thomson model was not actually so much tactful, it was not so much valid to explain such phenomena that we had observed. Second thing, let's try to talk upon the second thing that Thomson model actually failed. Now, one observation in the alpha particle scattering experiment, the alpha particle got scattered and it was unable to explain the alpha particle scattering. So it was unable to explain the alpha particle scattering in the alpha particle experiment, unable to explain the alpha particle scattering in the alpha particle experiment. Unable to explain the alpha particle experiment. That's it. Alpha particle scattering experiment. Now, if these two phenomena where it was not explained by the Thomson model, he took a very layman's model that he took the atom as a normal spherical structure and he said that the positive charge are actually embedded in this. Like seeds we have in pumpkin, seeds are there, that seeds he took as positive charge and negative charge is spread all over the volume of the pumpkin. And the same thing you take as the watermelon seeds will be there in the watermelon. So seeds you can take as the positive charge and entire the red portion of the watermelon you can treat them as the negative charge. And these positive and negative charge are distributed in such a way that the net electronic charge on the atom is neutral. That is how it is distributed. But the problem comes that certain observations that was not explained by the Thomson model. If some model of the atom is unable to explain some basic phenomena, some basic observations, so we cannot accept it. It's not a valid experiment, it's not a valid model. And this model failed to explain the spectral lines. We will see that in hydrogen-like atom, whenever the electron moves from one state to other, we will see that spectral lines actually come out of the hydrogen atom. These observed spectral lines cannot be explained by Thomson model, first thing. Second thing, alpha particle scattering experiment, I will be discussing that alpha particle scattering experiment just now. That was also unable to explain by Thomson model, and hence we cannot take that this is a valid model, hence it was discarded. So hence we are not taking it as a valid model, it was discarded and it is not used anywhere to explain the structure of atom. So simply it was a hypothesis. He knew that atoms are having positive charge and negative charge, and he just gave that this might be the model of the atom. And since we do not have such equipments to find out the model of the atom in those days, so we will start with a hypothesis and then we are trying to prove our hypothesis to be true. But in this case, Thomson model was not to be proved and hence it was taken to be invalid and it was discarded. Let's talk about the next model, Rutherford atomic model. Rutherford atomic model. Now in this case, how Rutherford reached onto a model? I will just tell you about the model and I will tell you what gave him, which experiment, the observation of which experiment gave him to the results that he came on to a conclusion that an atom might be constituted in this way. He actually performed an alpha particle scattering experiment. Based upon the observation of the experiment, he gave us the model of the atom and he said that the atom is actually having a very small positive nucleus. Around this positive nucleus, the electrons are regularly revolving in particular orbits. And these revolving electrons would be having some energy in which they are revolving, and the size of the atom is very large compared to the size of the nucleus. And on what basis made him to conclude this? Let's try to understand the experiment performed by him, that is the alpha particle scattering experiment. Let's talk about, first we will start with alpha particle scattering experiment. When I say about alpha particle scattering experiment, I believe that you all must be knowing about what is an alpha particle. An alpha particle is a doubly charged helium nuclei. So how you can take alpha particle as a doubly charged helium nuclei? So I am just mentioning here about alpha particle. You can take it as 4He2. It's a doubly charged helium nuclei. That means there is no electron. We are only talking about the nucleus of the helium atom, doubly charged helium nuclei, that is the alpha particle. Let's continue further. This is the alpha particle. I hope that most of you must be knowing that, and if I write specifically, I can mention this as plus plus, 4He2 plus plus, that is the alpha particle. It's doubly charged. There will be no electrons in the atom of the alpha particle, it's only the nuclei of the helium, that is the alpha particle. Its mass is 4 times the mass of proton. Now let's talk about alpha particle scattering experiment. What he did is he bombarded such alpha particle with very high velocity through a gold foil. And what he did, as this alpha particle moved through the gold foil, he just targeted this towards and observed the alpha particle falling on a zinc sulfide screen. And there were certain observations. He detected the alpha particle on the various portions of the screen, and then what are the observations were there? Let's try to find it out. So he bombarded the alpha particle see here, this is the alpha particle, it's coming out. This is the radioactive phenomena. Radioactive emission of alpha particle is taking place through this chamber. As the alpha particle moved, let's say this is the alpha particle that I'm going to draw. As the alpha particle moved through this, first of all, there is a plate through which we are going to synchronize them along a straight path. There's a plate, and as this alpha particle further traversed through this, there was a thin gold foil along which it has to cross. There's a thin gold foil. So let me mark here thin gold foil along which it has to cross. As this alpha particle moved in a straight line and struck with this gold foil, further he observed that there was a zinc sulfide screen. There's a zinc sulfide screen, and there's a detector. It's a detector, and he observed that there were alpha particles moving and striking the screen at several locations. It struck at several locations as provided here. So you can see that there were several locations on the zinc sulfide screen where he observed the alpha particle. Let me give you one more detail, that some alpha particles deviated so far from their path, and some even rebounded also. Here the lines that I have drawn, that I have shown you for the alpha particles positions on the zinc sulfide screen. There is a detector over here to detect the position of alpha particle, and then we have this, I have shown here a star over here, that is a lightning strike is there of the alpha particle on the screen. Lightning strike, that means whenever it strikes, a spark actually can be observed, as lightning phenomena can be observed as it strikes the screen. Now you see, based upon this observation, let's try to see what were the observation. He said that he saw that some alpha particles moved undeviated, and there were many alpha particles that moved undeviated. There were many alpha particles which actually deviated through a small angle. You can see here there were many alpha particles deviated through a small angle. This is the deviation. You can see that this is a deviation. I am marking it with beta, angle beta. So there were many that deviated through small angle. Again, there were few which deviated through a very large angle. Here you can see they were deviated through very large angle as shown in this with this curve. They were slightly very few, far lesser than all these alpha particles that actually rebounded. That is, they took a turn of 180 degrees, it's a U-turn. You can see that there's a U-turn, and they actually just moved, rebounded, moved in the opposite direction. So if I conclude the observations, if I write down the observations of all this, I can sum up. First, you can write in short, some moved undeviated, some deviated through small angle, many deviated through small angle, and some deviated through very large angles. Some deviated through very large angles, very few actually deviated through, or we can say rebounded. It started moving along the opposite direction. So very few, you can say 1 in 10,000, very few rebounded. When I say rebounded, what do I mean? I mean that they're completely changing the direction of motion. It's like a U-turn they are taking. It's like a 180-degree turn. You can see here, from here the deviation that is happening, that is 180 degree. So let me show you all here, this deviation that I have marked, that is 180-degree deviation, that is 1 in 10,000, very small, very few. Now, after all these observations, what are the results that can be concluded? From this alpha particle scattering experiment, what are the results that can be made out? You see this observation here, this radioactive emission. Here we have a plate which will actually make it to, let's say, lead plate, which will make the alpha particle move along a straight line. This is a gold foil, and from this deviation took place, we observed on the zinc sulfide screen. You can see there's a detector over here to detect the alpha particle at various locations on the zinc sulfide screen. It's a fluorescence screen, and you can observe the fluorescence of the alpha particle as it strikes zinc sulfide screen. So we have a lightning strike on the screen. Now I believe that all the observations are clear to you. Let's try to sum up the result from these observations. So after doing this experiment, let's try to come up with the result of this experiment of all this phenomena. What result can be drawn? So let's talk about the result from this phenomena. First of all, many moved undeviated. That means there will be a large empty space through which the alpha particle moved freely. That means large empty space is present in atom, because many alpha particle moved undeviated. Large empty space present in atom. Second, the result that we can make out, as some moved deviated with small angles, we can say that there's a positive charge present within the atom. Why is that so? Positive charge is present within the atom. Why I am concluding this? Because alpha particle is a positively charged element, or you can say particle. So if it's deviating, that means there will be some repelling force which will be acting on it. If repelling force is acting on it, that means there will be some positive center, because positive charge only can repel positive charge. So let's talk about, that means positive charge is present within the atom. I believe that this point would be clear to you all. Next thing, if you see, third point, very few rebounded, very few actually deviated through large angles. What we can make out? We can make out that this positive charge is actually present within a very small volume. The positive charge is present in a very small volume. The positive charge is present in a very small volume of the atom. If I compare the volume of the positive charge to the volume of the atom, I can say that that ratio is nearly 1 by 10,000 of the volume of the atom. So volume of positive charge center, can be compared to the volume of the entire atom, that is nearly equal to 1 upon 10,000 times of volume of the 1 upon 10,000 time of volume of atom. This is what I can conclude, this is what I can say about the positive charge center. Certain observations based upon the observation, the results were made out this. And this is very logical. You see the observation, some moved undeviated, you can say many moved undeviated. Let me write down, to be exact, it can be termed as, you can write many moved undeviated. Many deviated through a small angle. That means large empty space and there is a positive center, and many they will deviate through small angles. Now you see about some deviated through large angles. Some, that means lesser amount, is deviated through large angle, because for the large angle deviation, the alpha particle has to move very close to the positive center, and since that positive center is already having a very small volume, so the probability of moving through very close to the positive center will be very less. So some deviated through large angle and very few rebounded, because positive center is very small. As it strikes the positive center, it's very closing very near to the positive center, and then it will be rebounded just directly back along the same path but in opposite direction. Hence we can say that the positive center is very small, its volume very small compared to the total volume of the atom. Let me compare the angle theta with the number of atoms that has been deviated through those angle theta. So if I try to plot a curve, for between n and theta, where n is the number of atoms deviated through an angle theta, how we can mark it, how we can show it? We have lower the value of theta, larger is the number of atoms deviating through those value of theta. Here I am going to plot a curve between n is what? Number of alpha particle that has been scattered. It's just a comparison with the n and theta, and theta is the angle of scattering or angle of deviation, you can say. Angle of deviation. Now you see, n, if theta is small, if theta is very small, n will be very large. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark here in this way, and if theta is large, n is going to be very small. This is how the graph will be like this. You observe here, theta, lower the value of theta, higher the value of n, larger the value of theta, lower the value of n, you can see here. So I believe that this graph would be clarifying you about the alpha particle scattering, or the number of atoms, and the theta in this, the deviation angle for the alpha particle. So if I make a model, if I try to draw a model based upon the observation, what I am going to get? The positive center is very small compared to the entire size of the atom. This is just a comparative model I am going to plot. See, if this is the atom that you can take in the case of Rutherford model, he said that this might be the total model, this might be the model of the atom, and then since positive center is very small, so what I am going to do, I am going to mark this as the positive center, that is the nuclei of the atom. So you can say that this is the nuclei of atom. Next he said that as to neutralize this atom, there should be negative charge which should be present in the volume of the atom. So he said that there are electrons revolving in orbits all about the nuclei. Electrons are revolving, so there will be electrons present. So here I am just encircling the electrons. What is this I am drawing? That this is the electrons that would be out of this nuclei. The electrons and nuclei center, the positive charge of the nuclei center and the electrons, the sum total of the charges of both this will be equal to 0. So let me show you here, if I have Ze charge here. So charge of this Ze and charge of this electron, the total electrons, that will sum out to 0. So let me write down here, net charge will be 0 in this case of Rutherford model of atom. So I believe that Rutherford model of atom will be clear to you all based upon the alpha particle scattering experiment. The observation we did, he actually made out the observations, and based upon those observations he gave out the conclusion, the results that were actually framed, and based upon the results he came out with this model. Large empty space, you can see here large empty space, that's why undeviated they were moving. So I am writing here there were large empty space in this model of atom. Electrons would be all around the nuclei. Nuclei will be having a positive charge center, so I am writing positive center, nuclei of atom. This is one thing. So two models we have did in this class, Thomson model which was actually rejected. Now Rutherford model actually it also failed to explain certain phenomena. Now let me tell you, if something revolves, if this negative charge is revolving around this positive charge, it will radiate energy. So if its energy is radiated, its radius is going to decrease and finally it will fall on the nuclei or on the nucleus. Finally the atom will disintegrate, but that is not happening. So Rutherford model actually was unable to explain this orbits of the electrons in which they were revolving. And then we will try to see in the next class why this failed and what new model was actually came into being that was actually able to explain the right model of the atom. So stay tuned with more information in the next class. I believe that you understood today's class, the Thomson model and the Rutherford model. Do revise, that is required for better understanding. I will come up with more concepts in the next class, some more things, some more concepts. Till the time, wish you all the very best and thank you everyone.